This term gnosis is Greek and refers to knowledge, and it's the root of many words that we use in common everyday language, such as diagnosis. So the term gnosis doesn't refer to a simple intellectual form of knowledge or any kind of cultural or traditional inherited knowledge, but instead it refers to a perceptible, experiential form of knowledge, something that is individual, is not theoretical. It's one's own experience. It's one's own reality. It's the truth. We all have gnosis to some level, to some degree, because we have some degree of consciousness. And in truth, gnosis is a science of consciousness. To understand what gnosis is, we must recognize what the consciousness is. And to work with the science of gnosis is to work with one's own consciousness. From another point of view, we can say there are two doctrines which exist in the world: the doctrine of the eye and the doctrine of the heart. The doctrine of the eye, related to the physical eye, is that collection of theories, collection of ideas. It's all the beliefs and traditions, all of the varying interpretations. The theories are as varied as the human beings themselves. And one theory will contradict another, and it's difficult to find any real truth. But in the doctrine of the heart, we find the experiential knowledge, the doctrine of gnosis, the doctrine that one grasps through one's own effort. This type of doctrine, the doctrine of the heart, is not a cultural doctrine. It's not found in a book. It's not found in any school, nor in any religion. The doctrine of the heart exists within yourself, within your own heart. Residing in the depths of your own heart is a spiritual flame, a spark. And it's from this atom within the heart that the heart doctrine can be discovered and learned. If we limit ourselves to merely a theoretical analysis, we will never grasp it. We will never find it. We will find only complication and contradiction, because theories always contradict other theories. And in this physical formation that people call gnosis, there are contradictions. But those contradictions are a matter of appearances. They are a matter that has to be comprehended. The heart doctrine, or true gnosis, is individualized as the Christ becomes individualized, as the Christos, as that divine intelligence becomes individualized. And in that individualization, the knowledge applies to the level of that aspirant, of that initiate. What is appropriate and good for an aspirant or an initiate at a certain level has to be abandoned by one at a higher level. Therefore, the one who limits his study to the intellect will perceive two contradictory instructions which apply to two different levels, and they will enter into conflict. The answer to that is to discover gnosis inside of oneself, for oneself. In that sense, we follow exactly after what the Buddha himself taught, which says, you must test my words. You have to live them. You have to apply them. Otherwise, they have no purpose. Gnosis, this doctrine of the heart, is directed towards the expansion of our self-knowledge. To know oneself is to gather gnosis of the truth of life and death, of reality. This is not something to be taken lightly. The fact is that death awaits every one of us. None of us know when the moment of our death will arrive. It could be today. It could be in the next matter of hours. And that comprehension, that recognition, is important because it provides a foundation for us to manage our attention, to manage our will, to not be distracted, to always be mindful of the present moment. And when we are mindful and present and observant of ourselves, we are standing in the door of gnosis. Gnosis as a science, as an art, does not exist in the past. It does not exist in the future. The only way to enter into and access gnosis or knowledge is in the present moment. And to do that, to acquire that, requires discipline. It requires effort. But most of all, it requires consciousness. To be conscious, to be attentive, to be aware.
To learn more about what you learned in this lecture, we invite you to explore the books published by Glorian Publishing, available from booksellers worldwide. You may also be interested in online courses or upcoming retreats, all of which you can learn about at GnosticTeachings.org.